Have you ever watched something, whether it's on TV, in a movie, or a video on social media, and you were so dumbfounded at something that was so blatant, so obvious, that you wondered, if only for a second, whether what you just watched was real? Well, while I was watching a YouTube video that Austin Fleckus Fletcher released on Monday, a clip from PBS children's show Arthur, which has been around since I was a kid, was shown, and I couldn't believe my eyes and ears. A show that is geared to appeal to kids as young as 4 or 5 is actively trying to activate young children into becoming activists. Don't believe me? Just watch. You'll see. Hey everybody, thanks for coming back to MRC-TV. I'm Nick Kangadis. I made a promise just a second ago, so here's part of what I was talking about that taxpayer-funded PBS Kids put out there in order to educate young children.
Hey Buster, did you see that video?
Yeah, I just watched it. It was awful. I can't believe someone would be hurt like that, just because they're black.
Racism is so unfair. No one should ever judge someone by the color of their skin.
But how could it happen here, in Elwood City, right outside the Sugar Bowl?
Buster, it happens everywhere. I was talking to Mrs. McGrady the other day. She said there's a really long history of black people not being treated fairly in this country.
For those that don't know, Mrs. McGrady is their teacher, so much like real life, Arthur. No, not that Arthur. But Arthur and Buster the Bunny are in the process of being educated on racism and how black people have been historically targeted in this country simply for being black. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had just about enough of being told that I'm a racist simply for being white. And I think, wait a minute, isn't that racist? Does racism exist? Absolutely. Will racism ever go away? Absolutely not. And you want to know why? Human nature. In every segment of the population, yes, even the black population, there are stupid people and straight up jerks. And out of those who fall into the stupid or jerk categories, yeah, you're gonna get some racists. I guess I'm just tired of being made to feel that racism is a plague of epidemic proportions and that the US specializes in it. It's so intentionally misleading in order to keep everyone divided because the powers that be know if people of every demographic united, their cushy lives as subversionist politicians and members of the propagandistic media would be done. A united people would never stand for the division that is pushed on us on a daily basis. Think about all of the buzz terms that these parasites that try to blind all of us attempt to force feed us with. White privilege, black power, Latinx, white guilt, person of color, white supremacy, systemic racism, Black Lives Matter, white fragility, anti-black, anti-racist, bigot, cultural appropriation, implicit bias, inclusion, individual racism, institutional racism, internalized racism, interpersonal racism, structural racism, unconscious racism, oppression, racial equity, racial justice, social justice, restorative justice, and of course, whiteness. And that's just what they try to pawn off on adults, high school students, and college students. But for those that are so woke that they feel everyone of every age needs to adhere to their form of religion, they decide that kids shouldn't have an actual childhood, so they need to make them woke too. So what do? If they haven't already poisoned your kid's public school system with their PC culture bullshit, they put messages into kids' programming, especially taxpayer-funded children's programming, it seems, and that's precisely what they're trying to do, program children. Now, this is nothing new. They used to slide in crap like what we're seeing today into kids' programming from time to time, even when I was a kid. I grew up watching the hippies play with Muppets on Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and other similar programs. There was woke stuff in those shows before woke was even a word, but they weren't as overt and constant with their messages as they are today. Now back to Arthur. My jaw really dropped when I saw the bunny and whatever the heck Arthur is supposed to be get lectured on what you need to do to basically be a good person in the racist society that we live in. Before I show you another clip, I also find it kind of hilarious that all the characters are talking on Skype or Zoom or whatever they use in Pretendville, as if to show that they're doing their best to set an example of how the COVID ministers want everyone to live their lives going forward. Anyway, here's the clip that almost made me spit out my water.
It's not enough to just say, I'm not racist. It's not my problem. We have to actively fight against racism. As my friend John Lewis once said, if you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have a moral obligation to do something about it. Talk about racism with your friends, your parents, your teachers. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We all have a lot to learn about this issue. Also, listen. Listen to people who have experienced racism firsthand. Imagine what it would be like if it happened to you or someone you love. And finally, act. When you see or hear of someone being treated unfairly, stand up for them. Say something. It might be scary, but I guarantee you it's better for everyone, and it's the right thing to do.
Oh, just wait, my friends. It gets better.
Wow, you really inspired me.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. McGrady.
I'm going to talk with my parents about this right now. Hey, Mom!
Me too.
Listen, all of you are lucky I'm not making you sit through the whole Arthur video. Talk about peak cringe. It's not enough we've got bad parents out there who take their young children to protest to hold up signs that say some of the most vulgar crap you can think of. Now I'm just gonna get right to it. We need to begin leaving kids alone when it comes to being kids. Be a good parent. Teach your kids responsibility, the value of hard work, and all that other good stuff, but also allow kids to be kids. I know it's difficult when taxpayer-funded kids programming is trying to indoctrinate your children. That's why I'm going to call for the same thing that President Trump has called for multiple times. Defund PBS. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting receives hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars every single year. Should we be spending that much money on programming geared towards indoctrinating kids? I don't think so. Why don't you tell me what all of you out there think? Should we be pushing to defund PBS? If you think we should, or you just generally disagree with the message that taxpayer-funded PBS is showing, you can call the number on your screen to tell PBS what you think of their programming. Whatever your answer, let me know in the comments, where I do read most of them and respond to some. I'd love to get your take on it. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on Parler. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to share it and give it a thumbs up. Those are the two best ways to let us know you want us to keep these videos coming. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube might let you know when MRC-TV comes out with a new video if they haven't taken it down already. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kangadis.